What's up, guys? How's everyone doing today? Yes, sir. Always will be. It's really a mindset, really a perspective. Let's go. So, guys, it is a new week. Wherever you are in the world, I say welcome. It's Monday, August 17th, 10:15 a.m. Coming from Sydney, Australia. We have a lot to get into this week. So, this will probably be the only day I don't do two live streams because there's so much to cover this coming week and weekend. I'm going to be doing lives every day. I'm going to get back on with the Stats Don't Lie videos. I'm going to give you my breakdown, Stats Don't Lie analysis and prediction videos of a few fights. There's some good fights. I'm at the stage of the game where I'm not just going to take time to edit, film, upload, and produce a fight that doesn't excite me. For all of those fights, that's why I do these live streams for you guys. Now, for the fights that do excite me, it's fun for me to break down and get out the big guns, my equipment, and do that stuff. So if you don't have notifications on for my channel, just do that because I know a lot of the boys just watch the lives. What tends to happen is when I upload to our Stats Don't Lie playlist, you guys will get notified once a video comes out. So do that for me wherever you're checking in. Like this video. This is it. We're gonna use this live stream, the first half of it, to go over what we saw this past weekend. This past week, really, because our fight week started on Wednesday night. Our fight week actually started on Tuesday. If you're playing along with the Ryzen MMA fights, and then into the Dana White Contender Series fights, and then Wednesday was our first boxing event in Australia. So we started off the week on fire. For all those who were able to get action on the Australian card, you would have hit 100%. So we were going into the weekend looking really good. Last weekend was good for us as well. It's just kind of similar things happen. Last weekend we had one loss. We were one money line loss away from getting it all right. Shanika Johnson was our one loss. This weekend, similar story. We put together five boxing parlay. We put together 8 boxing parlays, right? Including our quarterly parlay, and we'll go over the receipts. We hit our first 3 in Australia. Our quarterly parlay is live. Our long parlay is still live with needing Moses for that to hit. We hit our short parlay. We hit our mixed triple. What we didn't hit, it would have been a perfect weekend in the boxing ring, but our prop double, points double, and our Salida A side did not hit because Caroline lost. She was disqualified going into the 9th round in a fight that the live odds had her up. She was a minus 800. Look, I'm not one to sit here and complain about it. I got to be honest with you. Even though I had Caroline Vier on 2 parlays, she was fading. Like, I don't even. I was worried. Do I agree with the DQ? No, I don't agree with the DQ, but I also don't agree with her lack of skills in the pocket. Like, how does this happen, right? So rather than calling it, I could easily sit here and make excuses and be pissed at the ref, which I am, but I'm not. I blame it on the fighter. And the referees in Georgia all night were terrible. I tend not to. I don't like piling on the referees. But in back-to-back fights, what we saw in the Caroline fight and then what we saw in the Troy Isley fight, I've been around boxing my entire life. I can't recall the last time I saw a fighter deducted a point for a kidney punch. That was at, and so the way it was going, I was like, holy shit, man. Like, it was feeling like this card is cursed. We know about, the weight misses. There were fights that were taken off. What I like to do in these situations, like I said, we were one, that DQ, we would have been perfect, right? We still hit 5 tickets. So I just know a lot of you guys had Caroline on multiple parlays. I'm not telling you to listen to me at all. I'm not telling you to use the same strategy of me at all. You do what you want to do. I'm not here to gatekeep anyone's decisions. But for me, I only lost 2 tickets on that DQ. And I was nowhere near my full bankroll on any of these fights, by the way. All things considered, right? I know a lot of people were salty about the DQ, rightfully so. But the lesson learned is, if you lost thousands of dollars on Caroline Valle, I mean, the only lesson would be maybe we don't load up on the females. I don't know. I'm not trying to give you answers. Now, I don't like how those referees were trying to play main characters at all. That referee in the Caroline fight was awful. I got to say, I'm sorry. Do I agree with Caroline? No. Do I think her clinch game was horrible? Yes. But to DQ her that late in the fight when she had the belts is kind of like, Jesus Christ, man. It was a tough way to lose. And we've had a few of those in the last month. The Sugar Neeks fight, the only parallel with Sugar Neeks in Caroline is that they were both ladies and they were both a money line loss. But other than that, they were two entirely different fights. We knew that, like, the Sugar Neeks loss was like a painful. You saw that from the second round on what was going to happen. That was a bit different. But this Caroline Valle DQ for me felt like Ruben Aguiar, because it was only a few weeks back, once again, that Ruben Aguiar was DQ'd in the first round. And that was another one of those weeks where we hit 6 out of 7 parlays. So this is why I can't be, I'm not mad at it. I'm not salty about it, because it's not like we're getting shut out. You know what I mean? It's not like it was even a bad read. It's not like Caroline was a bad read. Like, Sugar Neeks was a bad read. I missed that one, 100%. Shanika Sugar Cheeks was a bad read. Shout out to Dina. But this isn't a bad read. This is kind of this is like Ruben Aguiar versus Trigger. That's not a bad read. That's just one of these things that sometimes happen. So let's get into it. I did put this poll up on my Instagram. Guys, I did put this poll up on my Instagram. If you voted in it, it's cool. If not, I'm going to take it down in a second. I'll show you the results, though. So I just asked, was it a bad ref decision? 81% said yes, it was a bad ref decision. 19% said no. But something more interesting about this is there's about 1,000 people who voted, and Instagram gives you the option to look at who voted yes and who voted no. And so I have a lot of pro fighters. I have a lot of pro fighters who follow me, and they agreed with it. And I'm not going to put anyone on blast. And then I had about 50, a lot of guy fighters who are pros that you guys would know who they were, who said that the DQ wasn't warranted. So it's just one of these talking points. For me, all we care about is wins and losses, and this was a loss, and I'm just going to move on from that. But that was our only loss. Once again, we're that close from being perfect again. You know what I'm saying? So it's not all bad. This was and we're gonna get over this real quick. This was our short parlay. Our short parlay hit Woodbridge, Jazzy, Zarafa, Tito got voided, and Troy Isley. This was our mixed triple. Devel Smith on the money line, Islam Makachev submission or points plus 132. Tito got voided. That hit. Our quarterly parlay is live with Troy Isley and Zarafa, and then it goes into this week. That one pays plus 2,600. And that's the recap. So we did hit five card, 6, technically 7. We have technically 7 when you look at our quarterly parlay from June, July, and August at plus 700. We just need Moses to win in 2 weeks. That's still live. And then the quarterly parlay we put together last week. Other than that, we're in a good shape. We have a lot of fights to talk about. I don't want to hang around on I'll take your questions now. If you want to ask about the DQ, look, it bums me out because we lose. And I know there's a lot of there's a lot of guys in our group that are, we left a lot of money on the table. So it's like when things are out of our control, I'm the type of guy who I'm always looking to learn from our mistakes. I'm not a type of guy to not hold myself accountable and then blame things. I don't like blaming outcomes. What I like to do is look at the outcome, find a silver lining, and move forward. And the silver lining with that DQ is kind of like, shout out to Julius. Julius, he doesn't bet on female boxing. Now, I don't want to just I hate this analogy, but I'm not even going to say it. I don't want to throw away the entire female sport, because we do really well in female boxing on our channel. We do really well with female dogs. And my underdog of the week this week is a female fight. So maybe moving forward, I don't know yet. I'm thinking about maybe just, I just think it was bad luck, man. You know, that's where I'm at. It was egregious. Mike from Melbourne says, sup, Johnny, this is when we up counts. A new day, reset, and go again. What was Alvarez thinking? Valle thinking surely after pursuing the multiple warnings in this fight, she would stop. I think the holding comes down to a lack of skill. We're leaving here with something, Jay-Sai. Jay-Sai, I just saw that comment. You tagged me in with Carmel Mountain and his coach. Thanks for doing that. I love when people do that. I appreciate it. I commented on the post too. Chris says, morning, Johnny. Monday time to reset. UFC with so many upsets. Shit was wild. Yeah, dude. Christos hit. Christos is one of the few guys I know in the world who took Jalen. This is UFC. You took Jalen and you took the kid who beat my dog. Because I had Jalen. I went 50-50 in that double. I took Jalen, but I also took my boy who got beat. But anyway, yeah, the UFC was filled with upsets. The Unks, there were like 4 Unks who won. And so, like, what's up, Skeezy? Perth in the house. I don't agree with we down. I'm not down, dude. We lost 1 bet. This is where I need to, like, if you lose 1, moving forward, boys. And if you notice the strategy of when I lay all the tickets out to you guys, you never see the same fight appear on all my tickets. I don't even care if it's a massive favorite. The most you will, if I give you 8 tickets, if I give you 6 tickets, if I give you 5 tickets, the most you will ever see, ever, of the same fighter on multiple tickets is 2. And that's if I go money line and then prop. So unless you put Caroline on every single one of your tickets, you are down. But we're not down. We're up. But that is a great, valuable lesson, Skeezy, because if you did find, and I know some of the boys did, and I'm not trying to make light of this because I know thousands of dollars were lost, and that it's frustrating. That there's a lesson there, though. You know what I'm saying? You guys develop your own strategies. But I've lost like this in the past, and I told you what the fight that changed my strategy was Caleb Plant versus Resendez when I had Caleb on like 5 tickets, and I learned from that. I was like, you know what? One of the things I'm going to do from now on is ensure that a fighter, no matter how big of a favorite, doesn't appear on more than 2 tickets. That's just my strategy, and it would save you a lot of heartache, a lot of money if you take that strategy. Islam 4-1 domination. Yeah, Islam won me money. What's up, Jay? Eating. Yeah, Jay's been eating. Jay's been eating. Go follow Jay. We're guys, I also want to mention when you guys ask me to do things, you know that I'm very proactive. For months, you guys have been asking me to link up with Keith Moore boxing on YouTube. We're going to be doing our first collaboration later in the week, so stay tuned for that. And I'm looking forward to it. He seems like a good guy, switched on guy, and you guys have been bringing him up in my Discord for months. And he's excited to come on. He sent me a message, and he was like, bro, you know, and he ended it with "we up." So I was like, all right, he's one of us. You know what I mean? Let's do it. The ref DQ virus so early. Yeah. What's up, boss? Good to see you, brother. Yes. So Orobai sold everybody. Underdog isn't lying. Now, once again, I had him on 1 parlay, but I only did 2 parlays in the UFC. No, I had, yeah. I only do 2 parlays when the UFC happens. I do a dog and then a short plus money. And then this week, because we had such limited action on the boxing side, I had to do a mixed parlay. So I did that. Troy Isley, like the Troy Isley on points. Islam, the play I did with Islam was Islam double method, either on points or submission, and that paid off. 100% she was fading. Could see the frustration, hence she kept holding. Not sure if it was worth the DQ, but the ref did want. The so my thing about the ref warning her was how he was choosing to go about it. I know that she was coming off the Pursuit fight. We talked about it all week about the points being deducted in that fight. You could tell if the ref warns her for the first time in the 5th round, it goes the entire distance. He warned her from the very first time, I think in the 1st round. And that's when I was like, oh shit. He's already warning her in the first in a round which like the fight's not even heating up yet, and like it just started getting going. So it's like what I'm thinking, the pessimist in me, when I'm like, all right, he's warning her already this early. This is going to give him credence to, if she keeps doing this, to take points, which he did, and then this will give him credence to eventually DQ her. And I can't believe it went that way. But it's not one of those fights, and it shouldn't be one of those outcomes that we talk about too much, because it was, you know, how I'm not the type of risky gambler to go all in every week. And I think from my perspective here, part of my duty is to be real with you guys about that. And so there's lessons. The money I'm putting down on Teo versus Raleigh is 100% not the same money I put down on a Carolyn Valle fight. That's kind of my point. Was watching the live lines during the Shields farce in the beginning of the round 6. Shields jumped up to -550 by decision after being plus money up until round 4. All of a sudden, Shields opens up and gets the knockout. I mean, there was swelling after the 1st round. I'm kind of the Shields farce. And Ted Max, just so you know, the boys in the chat know, I'm not a fan of fighters. I'm a fan of the sport. So I don't want you to think what I'm about to say is because I'm a Clarissa Shields fan. But what do you mean farce? Time for the real week Teo. I'm excited. I'm excited to upload my videos. Avius Griffin is a decent little fight. We got Auntie Tortina. Auntie Tortina's fighting. I'm excited about that fight. So this is why I don't throw all the girls away. There's certain girls, like I'm always gonna bet on Gabby Fandora by knockout. Right now, if we could continue to get Auntie Tortina at plus money, we're gonna do it. She has Hall of Fame cardio. It's insane. People put so much hype into Ellie Scottney, rightfully so. Go watch the fight with Ellie Scottney at York Hall. We were live streaming in our Discord. I remember like it was yesterday, and the Ellie Scottney victory cashed us on a couple tickets. We're always cashing, mate. Like I'm not saying like this is why we're down. The boys are like we're down because we didn't hit 100% of our fights. That's such a good place to be, boys. We're in a good spot. But what I left from that fight was like, yeah, Ellie got skills. Ellie's growing. Ellie's, getting more confident. But I was like, who is this Mexican girl? This girl, it's like every round she just boom, it just doesn't fade. And I remember thinking right in my notes, I was like, this girl is gonna be a problem. I was like, put an asterisk by Flores' name, Maya Flores. I was like, and when she fights again, if we get her a plus money, I'm jumping on that early. That's my dog of the week. The best referee. Yeah, you guys, we don't want the referees to be part of the narrative. That was kind of like one of my biggest disappointments, is like whenever referees become part of the outcome, become part of the story. And Mike Melbourne is spot on here, man. If that referee in the Valle fight was hired for Andre Ward and Haney fights, both of those guys would have had 4 DQs apiece. Okay, but Ted, there is being able to hold on the inside is a skill. You know what I'm saying? It's an art. You drill it and you get good at it over time because you get comfortable fighting in the pocket. You definitely don't come crashing in and put both arms around your opponent's waist. That's not the same of what you're categorizing with Dev or SOG did and does in their career. It's not even close. Not even the same tactic. Might look the same optically, but definitely not the same. Super chat, Mosby. Thank you, brother. You're always taking care of me, bro, man. If I ever see you in real life, I'll buy you lunch for sure. I appreciate you supporting me, man. So, guys, however you can support, like the video if that's all you can do. I mean, just tuning in is enough for me. If you guys aren't in our Discord like Mosby, the link is pinned in the comment section. We just passed 600 VIPs. We're growing. We're approaching 625 now. You know, it's moderated. There's high. I woke up this morning at 6 a.m. I go into our Discord, 6 a.m. on Monday morning at City. There's 65 people in our boxing chat breaking down stylistically Vito Melnicki and Emma Williams, and I'm like, oh, this is what I'm here for. This is our community. This is, and we also stream all the fights. We got fights coming up for the MMA boys in 2 days, the Dana White Contender Series. We're not just combat sports. We got my bread and butter, other than boxing betting, is college football. So college football starts in a few weeks, and it's all pro sports. There's a baseball channel, a tennis channel, a golf channel. There's an investment channel. The boys are investing in there. So tap in, a couple bucks a month. You could join here on YouTube or Patreon. Mosby says, tough week for me, but definitely learn from this. No more betting on women unless it's Gabby or Clarissa. Time to move on next week. Yeah, Mosby. And like, man, the thing is, guys like Mosby and Mike from Melbourne and pretty much a lot of the guys in our group, it's not the whole like, oh, it's always one on our parlay. It's not that. It's more like, because, when guys are just picking fights and one loses, they're not putting the effort that we put. Like, we put in effort. We study the game. You know what I'm saying? So I understand it. It's deflating when we don't get it. We're not doing this to get 9 out of 10 right. We're not doing this to get 9 out of 10 right. We expect to get 10 out of 10 right. And we're not doing it. From an overall perspective, we take risks too, man. That's something that should be spoken about. It's not like we're doing, 40% returns. We're always doubling our money. So, yeah. Guys, we have our third Australian card in 4 weeks. Keep that in mind. Keep your heads up, dude. We got the Nikita Zoo Ben Monty card coming up. We fed our families with Tim Zoo. We definitely fed our families with Terramona and Zarafa. And Nikita's going to come through. Dude, the boxing gods are actually blessing us. 3 Aussie cards in 4 weeks, dude. Check your books. Next week's going to be good. Excited. Yeah, Nav and Shock just got booked in for October, boys. Fi's only loss prior to last night was somehow a similar fashion. She was faded. It was in Mexico. I watched that fight, Oyo, and you're not wrong. She was in Mexico. She fought a girl with kind of a wishy-washy record, similar sort of thing. But when you get belts and you come from a good camp, she has an amateur pedigree too. It's like, you would have fixed this. You would have fixed this, right? Now it's like, for her. Yeah. I agree with you, bro. Garcia in the house. I stayed on the bench for this card, ready to get back in the game. Smart. Mr. Get more money. I expect my man's right here to slightly change the name from, just change that first N to an M. Mr. Get More Money. Let's go. I can't fully blame it on the ref. Virus stubborn as it. No. Spot on. Spot on. 100%. Coaching too. Like, you guys, like, it's like, hey, mate, you guys didn't cover that in camp. You didn't work on clinching. Like, the only time, like, it is never a good sign in a fight when you see a fighter long arming. We see it pretty much in 2 instances, and they're both bad. The first instance is when a guy has been the hammer his whole career, and he doesn't spar with guys who are better than him, and he finally gets tested in a fight and he gets hurt and wobbled, and he doesn't know how to clinch, and he goes like this, and then he gets knocked out. And the other time is what we saw with Carolyn Valle, somebody who obviously doesn't like infighting and isn't comfortable in the pocket. Like straight arm holding around their waist is so insane. That is a learned pattern, a mechanism. I started boxing at 7. I still spar. I got to be honest with you guys. The action in a fight in the pocket of holding, like, isn't even part of my natural patterns. If anything, you, rather than holding and opening yourself up, you're going to stay tight and lean. You're going to lean, use your head. You're going to head wrestle a bit. You might kind of cheekily grab, but you definitely don't go full arms extended. You drill for this. You train for this. These are things that you work on. It's insane. So, like, yeah, man, the minus 800 too. That from a, it's kind of like one. Yeah, we're talking about it a lot, aren't we? Fuck. We're talking about. I said I wouldn't talk about it. 25 minutes in, we're still talking about. I guess the talking point. I'm taking Moses, Teo, George, Amanda, and Caroline. Same. I have all the same action sprinkled on separate parlays. I think Moses. I don't think Hrgovic is the guy to beat Moses. I think Teofimolopez on points is a great play. I like George Liddard to beat his opponent Morello. Amanda, MVP knows what they're doing. Jake Paul is a master of marketing. Amanda needs one knockout to break the all-time record. I think Amanda is in a perfect op. Even though we haven't seen knockouts in a while, I think this opponent is picked for her to get that knockout. And Caroline's just getting better. So many upsets in the UFC. I know, man. Shout out to Neil Magny. Shout out to Jeremiah Wells. Shout out to the Amish boy, Dustin Stolfus, boy. Most of you guys probably didn't know. He grew up Amish in Eastern Pennsylvania. Dutch Amish. And Stolfus is one of these guys, man. I'm not going to say I picked him, but over the last 5 years, I've definitely won money on him in plus money situations before. And then Jeremiah on this live stream last week, even though I picked Oral Buy, I said, Wells, dude, he's a young I said he's a young 39. He's explosive. It wasn't that long ago where he was like, being spoken about fighting in really, really high marquee fights. He's dangerous. He's going to come in shape. He's a tough Philly guy. And then I took Jalen to beat his opponent. I said, dude, the one I'm pissed about myself is Chidi and Njokuani. I said all week, I was like, dude, Chidi is a dog, man. I was like, this kid is moving up. The Spanish kid is moving up from 155. Chidi's coming down from 185. Chidi's a kickboxer. Has been a Muay Thai fighter his entire career. I was like, the Spanish kid likens himself to being a striker. We've seen him grapple before, but I was like, if he gives Chidi the fight that Chidi wants, Chidi's gonna beat him. And I'm pissed I didn't take Chidi in that fight. Let's go. I'm convinced Alvarez had money on himself to take the L as submission specialist. I wouldn't say Alvarez is a submission specialist. He has a lot of subs, but Alvarez, especially at 155, his height. Alvarez was, a striker. His subs would come after he would hurt people. He thought he thinks he's a striker. What's up, boys? New week. We gonna eat positive. We always are. Yeah, Rodrigo and Skeezy, you're right, man. So when especially halfway through the second, when you're thinking about if you're Alvarez and you're thinking about if you're Joel. I remember when Joel was like 24-0, and people were like, "Who the?" And like you didn't see a lot of guys at 155 24-0. And so he was well-rounded, but when he would be cooking, he would use his striking. And if, guys wouldn't want to stay on the feet because they were getting pieced up, he'd either hurt them and then get dropped, and then he'd go to the ground. But he's never been like a double leg expert. He's never been a shoot first guy. He's a guy who'd set this stuff up on the ground with his striking. But he has that in his repertoire. Now, it should be mentioned, he was Islam Makhachev's sparring partner for this camp. They brought him in to emulate old boy, the boy who lets other dudes sleep with his wife. And maybe in that sparring, and this is all just speculation, maybe he was hiding an injury. I don't know. Maybe that's all that I could think of, because somewhere around midway through the second, when you're watching it, you could see in Alvarez's body language that he wasn't going to ever shoot a takedown. He wasn't even feinting a takedown. He wasn't even doing that one, or that one. He was just he looked frustrated. So all I could think, maybe you guys, if you still care about it, I'm sure you could look into this. It looked to me like he was hiding an injury. It's a way of life, and this is what I mean, man. And this is why I don't, which has never happened, knock on wood, every week I've ever done this over a year, We've always got at least one win. I've never been shut out, and it's not going to start happening now. But even if there would be a week where we got shut out, we got goose egg, I would still say we up because we're never down. We're here. We're breathing. We have an opportunity. This is my mindset. It's an opportunity to do whatever we want. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it. We're up. We still good. Dude, he's been flooding my timeline again, John, on my Instagram. I had to block him. I had to unfollow him because my timeline when he popped off got so ghetto. Like it's the we still good. Remember that. So I had to unfollow him. And now he's sneaking back in, telling his yo, the last time, if you ever pay for some sloppy doppy and you go to the old box spots, and I'm like, and then my boys start sharing it. I'm like, man, I'm a 44-year-old grown ass man. I can't be. And then my algorithm gets all toxic. So, but he's somehow popping up again. Sometimes I get lost in the psychology of the game. Take an L, then start to chase. And Skeezy, it's not just you, bro. I've seen this, and I'm speaking from experience. Me happen when betting on the UFC. So this is why I highly suggest, just like in life, whatever your career is, whatever your living situation is, whether you're on your own or not, whether you live with your family or not, whether you have kids or not, whatever it is, I'm sure there are certain boundaries that you have set in place to ensure that you're living somewhat of a productive life. I highly suggest doing that with your betting strategies. Put something in. One of mine from losing thousands before years ago in UFC betting was to create my parlays before the fight weekend. And no matter what happens in the UFC, if like when Orobai lost the very first fight, I didn't make another parlay. And the way I do that is if that first fight loses, I'm done. I'll watch the fights. And then to ensure I still have action, whatever that first parlay. So what I do is whatever that first parlay is, this is every UFC card. I'll make sure that my second ticket will at least be the last fight, whether it's an underdog in the main event or a method of victory like it was yesterday, Islam on points paired with a boxer fight. It'll always have me at least still tuning in to the main event and not tuning in just because I've lost this fight and I chased and won 3 but lost. Now I'm chasing and let's see if you know what I'm saying? So boundaries are important. Corey Marksman, yes. We've kind of I kind of look at Corey Marksman as this guy that, diamond in the rough, man. We started winning money on Marksman a couple fights ago. He's really skilled, marketable, very talented, and I don't think he fights this weekend. I think Corey fights in 2 weeks. What's up, Johnny? I see that you got that haircut. I know, Brandon. She don't like it. She's like, Johnny, I don't like your long hair. I'm like, I like it. So yeah, she wants me to cut it. We'll see. It's cold out here, brother. Holding for lazy boxers. She wasn't even. It does like for me. It was the lack of technique. This girl had an amateur career, guys. This girl had belts. It's wild, especially how she was choosing to hold. I took a big L. Yeah, yo, man. I remember. I saw you in the Discord, boy. Don't be doing anything stupid, big homie. If you're not having fun betting on these fights, don't do it. Don't chase either. What are we chasing for? Guys, I'm going to pull up the books for this week. See what we got. Rush, rush to the yayo. Bus, bus, give me yayo. All right, boys. All right, so this is what, and obviously it's still Sunday in America, and it's Monday here. So as the week progresses, we're going to get more fights. Guys, there are 2 tickets that are live with a third one incoming. So check the Patreon VIP section. Check the YouTube members only section. You're going to have 1, 2, 3. You'll have 6 tickets already, but 2 of them are long parlays. Okay. So there are 4 tickets that are live already, and it's only Monday. So we have our dog of the week. I put this in on Saturday, and I posted this on Saturday. So we'll see if she's still a dog. I got her a plus 130. That's posted. I also have my boxing money line double plus 139. That's posted. My short parlay, which I'll post after this live stream, is a 6-legger, kind of like akin to the safety net parlay. It pays plus 105. I'll post that. And then, dude, I almost got all my plays already for the week. And then I got a method of victory double that pays plus 174. So 2 quarterly parlays and 4 live tickets already for the VIPs. So make sure you check that out. And moving forward, if there's questions about those sort of outcomes, you could ask me. Never been more frustrated watching a UFC fight. I think Gary was getting to Islam late. Just refused to throw any volume. Yeah, it's one of those things that man, that size difference was wild. You know what I mean? Like 155 to 170, that jump in MMA is already wild. It's 15 pounds. You see a lot of the guys who have success at 170 historically have been guys that that are like they're coming down to make that weight. You know what I mean? Like coming from 185 to make 170. So Ian Gary, Islam, as the fight was going on and Gary kept getting up, was struggling with Gary's size. It's a big boy, 170, tall, long, muscular, not super muscular, but he's not skinny. And Ian Gary's really good. He's very skilled, very crafty, has a good fight IQ, technical, well-rounded, well-coached, well-trained, disciplined, all that stuff in the octagon. Ian Gary, he'll probably still become a champion. But when you're looking at the other guys at 170, like the size of these guys, I think Islam's going to struggle with a handful of these guys based on just the size. There's weight classes for a reason. Look at how much Ilya struggled with Justin Gaethje's size, just going from 45 to 55. And what Ilya did in the second round at 145 would have won her, and the damage would have 100% gotten anyone out at 145. But the added weight, the added size doesn't only allow these fighters to have more power, but it also allows them to be more durable when they're getting hit with shots from guys who aren't as big. So those same shots in a weight class above aren't doing the damage that these fighters are used to. And so Ilya jumps on Justin at the end of the second trying to finish him and underestimated the durability of a guy who is a pretty decent size 155 and Justin and gassed out. And then we saw how that turned out. I was never worried with Makhachev because he's so well coached and he's so well trained and he's so disciplined to where, those guys, the Dagestani wrestlers, the DC's, wrestling camp, both the guys who do his high school stuff at Gilroy and the boys in California, these guys train for moments of exhaustion. So unless Islam was going to get hit with something vicious that he didn't see, I never was doubting the gas tank to be an issue just based on mentality. Those boys train. You know what I mean? I didn't have any money on Gary. So if I did have my money on Gary, yeah, I would have been frustrated on the aspect of this is your chance. You're fighting for a world title. You have the opportunity to erase a legend. You could be great here. So put yourself in riskier situations. He had cardio, especially the end of that fourth round. He's the one on his toes. Those body kicks he was landing, that switch kick was gorgeous under the elbow. Add something to that. There was a little bit of, I don't want to say hesitation in Gary's game, but if I had to criticize, I mean, what I saw was a guy who maybe was lacking a wrinkle or maybe was lacking a gear in terms of offensive striking. It seemed like, he'd land that kick and then he'd reset and think about it rather than land that kick and then turn it into something else. It's tough though with a guy like Makhachev. You always have to worry about the takedown though. So he lands a kick and he's like, I rush in. He's shooting a blast double, Dagestani handcuff on the leg, and now I have to, I lose the rest of this round. So you have to take that into consideration as well. You just can't come in there crazy against those sort of guys. Gary, he did well though. Not well enough to win. I don't judge. I'm not I don't follow these guys on social media, so some of the boys in our MMA chat were kind of taken back because they know I watch all the fights, but I didn't know about the behind the scenes political stuff about Ian Gary. I don't pay attention to, like, I didn't know about the wife and all that stuff and whatever. I just watch them fight. I watch all the fights. I barely follow anyone on social media. And so I don't have Twitter. I wasn't paying attention. So I know a lot of guys were judging him on that sort of stuff, things he said, and then I made myself aware of like some of the comments he was saying, which are, I think he's being serious. The whole male feminist thing. I think he was being serious. I thought he was trolling a bit, but I was like, he might be serious. He might be brainwashed, Maybe he got that good and he got a little bit of brainwashed. I've seen it happen to some of my boys before, mate. They used to, all of a sudden they get a little piece of something they never had before. Next thing you know, they're out here going to church, praying. So who knows? I think he's going to regret that performance, though. I actually took Sainz on a parlay thinking it was Suarez. I like Jimmy Sainz. I think Jimmy Sainz is safe. Suarez, for some reason, the guy. Oh, Charlie Suarez is a beast. You thought Jimmy Sainz is Charlie Suarez? I guess I've been aware of Charlie since he beat my boy Paul Fleming a couple years ago in Australia. Should I pull that? I don't think Jimmy's on upset alert. Look, don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. Only because, and I mean this when I say this. We're all flawed in our personalities. Nobody's perfect. I think that's a beautiful part about being a human is once we're able to identify flaws, especially if they're critical flaws, holding our production back, holding our sort of success back, then you fix them, right? One of my flaws with betting is that once I post my slip, I'm 10 toes down. Once it's posted, I'm 10. The only but this is why I love our group is because before I post, we use this. We talk about this. We're in the chat. I was brainstorming with about Jimmy Sainz like a month ago. I think with Barium and maybe Chilltown in the Discord. So guys, use the Discord for that as well. Like before, look at the fight schedule. I'd advise you to make short lists about fights that you might be questionable on, and then start a chat in the Discord. Hey boys, what's your this fight's in 3 weeks. What's your thoughts on this? And there's gonna be one or two of the boys, myself included, who will engage. You guys know that. I'd already done the tape on Sainz. He's been in close fights. Tom Culling fight. I don't think Tom is the guy to beat him here. I like the value on the money line. Is he on multiple parlays of mine? I think he's on one. I don't think Callie's the guy. He didn't look great in his last fight. You guys see Wint? You see Wint has a fight already? So shout out to King of Fitness, my boy who played college ball in Maryland, my boy who sent me the football jersey. King of Fitness told us about Anthony Wint 2 weeks ago. Wint made his debut last week on the Contender, and now he's fighting this week for the UFC. Pretty fascinating stuff. Who do they pair Wint up with? You're not Kennedy Njoku? Not the dude with the wild last name. I thought he got cut. I'll figure it out. Joel sold me, but overall I'm still up on the distance plays. What's up, Mayo? Those body kicks were nasty. Did you see Islam ribs? Yeah, bloody. Michael Morales and Carlos Prates is the fight to make for the next opponent for Islam. I think he would struggle with Morales. I mean, Morales, the size. I don't know. I'd have to revisit. Both guys are flashy guys who have star power. But if you can't defend that double, like Ian Gary's slick on the ground, dude. Did you notice how every time Makhachev would shoot and he'd get him down, what Gary was doing with his lead shoulder, he was using that lead shoulder to block the other leg from Makhachev to come around and to make Makhachev's life a little bit more difficult. And he was using this, I think, from the third round on to get up. It was skilled stuff, dude. Makhachev's super skilled. You could tell they trained hours in the gym. So say what you will about the kid, but that dude, you could see the sacrifice he puts in by being able to defend that. Not many people get up. And I mean, some of it was how big Ian Gary is versus the guys that Makhachev is used to fighting at 55. Is Morales going to be able to get up like that? I don't know. Prates? We'll see. So keep that in mind as well. Did you see Topuria coming and getting his belt back? Do you see Topuria coming? Yes. 100%. I'm not, you can't throw it. Guys, think about how you thought about Ilya before the Gaethje fight. That's all I'm saying. I mean, are there going to be questions? Yes. Is he going to have to answer those questions? Yes. Do I think that because he got beat up the way he did against Justin, and Ilya said he was this close from winning, and Ilya said, you know, he's fixated on what happened in the second. You know what I mean? Like, this is still Ilya Topuria. He's still one of the best fighters in the world. The questions I would have is like, do you want to, you know, what are you doing? 55 or 45? I'd say 45. He's not a big dude. Barrientos, the link is pinned in the comment section. You could either join here on YouTube or Patreon. And then I'll send you the Discord link. And welcome, brother. Our community's strong. Guys, we're 47 minutes in. We got 54 of you in here. Just like the video for me. How do you think Littard gets it done this week? He might knock out Dario Morello. I'm not getting props yet. Guys, have you been burned like me in the past of playing UK props? So Julius is the reason why Julius and I get along, you know, obviously starts with his knowledge of boxing, but I like Julius's philosophies. So whenever he comes on my channel and you see us chat, he's in the Discord. And go follow Jay Knows Boxing on YouTube. Do that for me. You know, it took me months to get him to start one, and he finally did, and it's growing. So let's get him to 1,000 subs first. And then once we get him to 1,000, we'll get him to 5,000, and then we grow, right? But I really like, you know, Julius and I see eye to eye on the data stuff, the finding patterns, the being aware of patterns in boxing without when they happen, and when they do happen, you write these things down. I do very similar things that he does. And so what I'm noticing is in terms of my prop percentages, like historically over the last year, my UK prop percentage is low. It's not like horrible, but it's not like my American prop percentage in terms of hit rates. So it's something I've been thinking about lately because I'm always I'm always looking to make adjustments. You know, what we're doing is my mindset is we're creating we have a fine-tuned machine of like how we break fights down, how we wager, how much we wager, the strategy of what fights to put on which. And so what I know is me. I don't know if it's just me, and if it is, that's fine. But yeah, especially over the last 6 months, my UK prop game isn't as high as my American or even Aussie prop game. My Aussie prop game is really freaking high. And my Eye of the Tiger prop game is ridiculously high. My prop game overall is really high, but my UK prop game, I mean, and for all the newbies, you know, picking outcomes, isn't as high. And it's a noticeable drop off. It's crazy. So it's something I've been thinking about looking into, making adjustments. So when you ask me about George Littard and the outcome, yeah, I'm not getting props on it yet. It's on the screen. I'll have a look later in the week. What's the earliest you could come tonight? Sophie, 6:15. Sorry, I know you guys hate when I try not to. That was my girl. She's making dinner. I'm betting UFC live for now. Live fast. Find your wins, bro. Live life fast. You're in our Discord, aren't you? If you're in our Discord, man, message Boss Christos. Message, he goes by Ali TV on our live stream. And in the Discord, what is Ali TV's name? Message, just go to the MMA channel. You'll see the boys who are active. They know their shit. You know, link up with those guys. Message them, be like, hey, what's the live? Because live betting, if you have opportunity, I know a lot of guys who make a lot of money on live betting. Personally, my book in Australia doesn't have that as an option unless I call these humans on the phone, and I ain't about that life. Psychologically, I ain't about that life. I ain't trying to call a human because I'm trying to get a lot. Like, I know I'm probably leaving a lot of money on the table. For me, it presents myself with a lot of guilt and shame that I have to talk to a human about it. But can't I just press a button? Live bet. Yeah, but nope, not here. Live bet. Call this number. What's up? I see you betting again. Yeah, can I like it's a little bit of shame for me, but probably that's my like when I was a kid, my Roman Catholic background, my parents sending me to a Catholic school and having to confess my there's a lot of trauma from our childhood, boys. Don't be ashamed of it. Trauma. I confessing. I'm out of my mind. Morales is bigger than Ian Gary. Morales is a monster. Morales, it's still going to come down to you still have to get up. Because, think about how many times in Khabib's career, in Islam's career, where the story and the narrative of their outcomes were that their opponents couldn't get up. Maybe the first one, they let the round play out. And then the second one, then the first, they get past, maybe they get to the second round. I mean, there's only a few handful of fights in Khabib's career. One of them was the Al Iaquinta fight when Iaquinta took on Khabib on like 2 days' notice when Tony Ferguson tore his ACL tripping on the microphone cord at the press conference. And Iaquinta ended up taking Khabib the full distance, went 5 rounds with him. But Al was very underrated. People forget about how good Al was, especially on the ground. Came from a good camp. Came from that same camp with Chris Weidman, the New York boys, Aljamain Sterling, longtime sparring partner. But generally, the play on it, Khabib, and similar to Islam, is like, all right, if I take you down, which I will take you down, and you will be on the ground, and I don't stop you, that's usually because the round ended. And when I take you down the second time, it'll be in the next round, and then I'm going to stop you. People really don't get up. You don't really see guys getting up time and time again. It's happened. But will Morales be able to get up? September 12th, I'm going heavy on the Joseph Morales versus Brandon Moreno fight. Hopefully he's an underdog. Mayo, share your reads in the Discord, brother. I'm making she's making salmon risotto, boys. Like, I like to cook, and I know how to cook, but unless my girl's over and I'm cooking for her or friends, I'm making just like a ribeye on the grill for me. I'll just get like a piece of salmon and pan fry it. But like when she comes over, I get shit fancy and I'll make it presentable. She always cooks presentable. Like she's like, I'm making salmon risotto. I was like, let's do it. I like Nemo Fazil, Douglas Rodriguez on the contender. All right, Christos, could you put those reads up in the Discord and tag me? Because guys, betting on the UFC, betting on MMA, I tell you guys is the volatility, the risk. We see this every week. Sorry for the vulgar analogy. It's really like going to a condomless whorehouse. It's risky. That's in my head. That's whether if I'm betting on the UFC or Dana White contender, anything can happen. It's as risky as going to a condomless whorehouse. So be aware. Julius knows ball. Yo, Johnny, you see Israel Mercado is a 550 dog. Utra this Saturday. I think those odds should be a little more even. Dude, Altria is good though. Dude, Carlos is good, aggressive. Mercado is the uncle of Tito. I think he might be 30. How old? Maybe he's 31. I thought maybe he's 35. How old is Israel? We pulled this up last week. I'll pull up the odds too. But Altria's tape is fun. If you guys haven't taped Carlos Altria, fun tape. Israel Mercado. He hasn't fought in. Well, he hasn't fought in a year. I'll pull up the odds in a second. Israel Mercado age. Why did I think he was 35? He's only 31, which isn't, I mean, what are these odds you speak of, young man? You know what? Odds are horrible. Dude, Jamal Harvey's matchmaking here is shameful. I'm just going to leave that at that. I like Avius Griffin in this spot. I'm going to play the knockout in this spot. Jackson Marinez is 35 years old. Jackson Marinez recently got stopped against Landolfo Delgado. Avius Griffin, dude, if I could get this prop, and I know that we've seen him lose before, but this is a kid who comes from a great camp. He's well coached, super athletic, big as hell for the welterweight division, a 6'1" welterweight who could crack. Marinez is in his mid-30s now. I don't like that Marinez got stomped against Landolfo. And, Landolfo's not a puncher. Avius is a puncher. So keep an eye on this fight. Depending on your bankroll, $1.09. You could use it as a parlay piece. I don't know your strategy. I have Avius on the money line. I got him at $1.11, I think. So my range is usually I try not to dip below $1.10, just for the sake of the Caleb Plant Resendez fight. It's another one of these strategies that through a loss I ended up adjusting my game. Granted, there'll be some weeks where we don't get a lot. Like I couldn't play Clarissa Shields on the money line. Like you didn't see her on any of my parlays. She was literally unplayable at $1.04. So I know it's free money and you're leaving pebbles on the table. I get all that. But I've lost like that once. And I don't want to like make the same mistakes. Caleb was $1.06 against Resendez. So right now Avius is $1.09. I got him at $1.11. If you like him, I would take him now to build a parlay with. I'm waiting to see if that knockout prop presents itself. And if it does, I'm jumping on it. But let's get back to what you initially asked about Altria. Plus 550. I kind of think that's fair, man. I'm not. I kind of think that's fair. You think it should be closer? Altria, man, this dude is. Watch his tape and let me know if you think that those odds are fair. What's up, Lonely? Mr. Lonely. So lonely. Might be a dumb question, but living in Texas, website do you guys? Guys, can somebody help Jay Betantos out, please? Any of the Texans up in here? She's from Texas, I can tell by the way. Somebody help my man out. It's two-step it. Tail by Absolute, yeah. Mr. Lonely. Bet the house on Tyshawn. I'm not. My book isn't giving me Tyshawn yet. I'm in there already. Yeah, I thought you were. Islam cleans out the. You think Islam cleans out? See, that's what it's going. What's up, Ramber? That's what it's going to come down to, guys. Because 170, there's these big, long, athletic, young, powerful, exciting strikers, knockout artists. But still, if and when Islam gets paired and matched with those guys, and you're making your bet, be sure before you wager, you ask yourself if you're taking the other guy, not Islam, you must ask yourself, will this fighter be able to get up from a takedown? It's a very important, it sounds pretty rudimentary. It's a very important question. Very important. And when I said the size of Ian started bothering Islam, what I mean by that is Islam was really never in danger. It's just that Gary started getting up. But you do that technically and go watch the tape and see what he was doing as soon as he got down with that shoulder. He wasn't allowing the hip to come over the shoulder. I don't know if Morales could do that. I definitely don't think the other kid who smokes cigarettes could do that. Mile Flores. Brandon, is that our fault, brother? So here's my dog of the week. I posted this in our group 2 days ago because I knew, guys, we have a couple big hitters in our group, in our Discord, they feed off the female fights. And I don't have Twitter, but I know one of our boys has Twitter. And I just assume, and I don't know if does Barium give his reads on Twitter as well or just in our Discord? I don't have that answer. But if you're in our Discord, you'll know about Barium Boxing. He's an absolute savage. One of his strengths, in my opinion, is finding these diamond in the rough underdogs. The boys just hit on another dog parlay last night in Japan. After what happened in Georgia, I chose not to play the Japanese card, but they hit for a double. The boys, plus 300 sort of stuff. One of those guys was a dog. Barium earlier in the week did a whole breakdown. So this is our group, right? That's kind of like the crux of who we are as a community, is this sort of thing. well-researched, insightful breakdown analysis. And he did his prediction 4 days ago on Tortina. That's when I saw that, I was just assuming he posted it on Twitter. So that's when I posted my bet. So on Tortina. And then I shared it 2 days ago. So I got her. I'm going to pull the odds up now just so we can compare. I got Auntie Tortina at plus 130. That's Auntie at plus 130. What is she at now? Okay. No, it's only gone down a little bit. Guys, this is our dog, boys. I'm look at the odds though. Look at look at the right look at the this is totally our fault. That is called falling off of a cliff. When Auntie starts at plus 200, and it's not even fight week in America, by the way. It's literally Sunday in America. You never see that. This is our fault. So I'm not telling you what to do, but go watch Ellie Scottney versus Mayeli Flores. It was her last fight. And if you don't watch female boxing, what I'll tell you is the people in the know, the boxing community in the UK and abroad now, Ellie Scottney is this young sort of next up sort of she's super talented. And they just fought at York Hall, and this little 4'9" Mexican girl, I'm not bullshitting you when I tell you this. She has Hall of Fame cardio. I've never seen anything like. I told about it. I talked about it at the beginning of the stream. I'm not bullshitting. You look at her, she doesn't even look like an athlete. She's like a little tortina. She's short, big, but bro, her cardio doesn't dissipate throughout the fight. And Scottney, even in between the rounds, even after the fight, she was like, bro, what would like that is, and then Flores got signed, and this is her fight. So I don't know if those odds are because most people don't know who that is, but our group knows who that is. And if you like a dog, that's my dog of the week. She's still at plus money. I could probably almost guarantee she'll probably be the favorite in the next 3 days. So do what you want to do. That's my play. Morales, out of those guys, actually, okay, I didn't know this. Actually has a wrestling background. I know it's not as credible as Russia or USA, but he's a wrestling champ. Okay, Ecuador. What is the Ecuadorian wrestling program like these days? Hey, we got a new JSB insider. Megafox, you are a YouTube member. My email, guys, is on my YouTube bio. Johnny Stavko at iCloud. Mega, send me that email. I'll send you the Discord. Guys, if you're in our Patreon, by the way, and you're a VIP in the Patreon, and you're not in our Discord, those two are congruent. DM me on Patreon. Same with the JSB Insiders here. If you have any colored star next to your name on this live chat, and you're not in our Discord, email me. Israel Mercado's only loss was against Birslanov. Birslanov's good. I know. His last two opponents. All I'm asking you to do, Blue, is watch Altria's tape. And maybe, I'm getting a little head over heels about the tape and watching him. I've watched his last few fights. He's one of these guys, like, are you willing? This is why I love our chat. These are good chats to have. Are you willing, Blue? Are you taking Mercado? Okay, so this is Carlos. We'll do a side by. He's a 22 in Blue. I respect your opinion. I'm gonna remove that comment so we can see the screen real quick. Okay, so we'll do both. We'll look at Utria. Obviously, Mercado is the more well-known guy. So you got Carlos, who's 14-0 with 11 knockouts, ranked at 140 pounds, 33 globally, close to an 80% career knockout to win ratio. He's a 5'9" guy, 70-inch reach. So he has a decent frame for 140. 22 years old. These guys coming out of Colombia. Where's John Arobio from? Like these, I don't want to. I'm pretty sure. Isn't Arobio, dude? Is Arobio from Colombia too? I know he fights out of Canada. He speaks French. He speaks Spanish. He he's promoted by Eye of the Tiger. But I'm pretty sure. Isn't Arobio from Colombia too? Yeah, Arobio's from Colombia as well. And Arobio also fights at 140. And Arobio's 20. Dude, these bro. Arobio fights. I think Arobio fights this weekend too. If you guys haven't seen John Arobio fight, man, Jesus. Watch Utrio. Watch how he fights. Tursunov. I mean, yo, he won the win over Tursunov in Riyadh. So you could see these fights are going down. This is a kid, guys, who won the WBC Grand Prix. This is if you didn't watch, we streamed the Grand Prix. It would have been like, I'm bad with like, because I live in a vacuum, meaning that like we do this every week. In my head, the Grand Prix was what, like 8 months ago? Yeah, it was in December. It finished up in December. It's the same Grand Prix in Riyadh that our boy in Australia, Dylan Biggs, won. But the kid, watch his tape from that tournament. That's when I was like, Jesus. So he's getting UDs, he's getting stoppages. Um, Up until the Grand Prix, though, this was a kid who cut his teeth on the Colombian domestic scene. The Grand Prix kind of like introduced, at least me, to who he was. I like what I saw and I like what I see. If you like, so that's kind of, I like him in this spot. I'm open and entertained to the fact of a path to victory. If you guys see one from Mercado, that youthful pressure pace, power boxing. I mean, freaking hell, dude. It's kind of refreshing to watch. Only because, I'm not going to say these guys, like John Arobio is one of my favorite prospects in all of boxing, by the way. And even he's not going to be a household name. I'll show you John Arobio. I know he's not a household name. And I like young, like sort of aggressive punchers, especially who like have this. You don't see them a lot. You don't see a lot in North America. We don't see a lot down here in Australia. You kind of see them in Japan, but they're not as athletic as these guys. I'm talking young guys who believe in their power that they are going to see, and you're going to have to prove to them who has the bigger. Who has the bigger? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Arobio's fighting this weekend too. If I could get a knockout prop, I'm definitely playing Arobio by stoppage. That's one we've been riding. Uh, his tape is so fun to watch. And yet, say what you will. 18-0, 16 knockouts. Same sort of kid who kind of like, look at this. So he's come through the Canadian scene, even though he's born in Colombia. He's being, moved. I like how he's being moved with Eye of the Tiger. I like the matchmaking they've been. He's been so dominant though. Step ups are coming soon for him at 140. And as of late, he's fighting Antonio Moran. So my bad. He's fighting in 2 weeks. He's fighting on. Right now they're giving him older guys who had been in there with better guys, which I understand. But he keeps dominating and sort of like wiping the floor with these guys. It's only a matter of time before they step him up. I absolutely hate BoxRec. Like, to not even be able to press the event. Like, that's driving me insane. What do you think of Tia? What's up, Rizza Jizza? Killer Army. We the last Armageddon. It's Killer Army. We the last Armageddon. Prepare yourself now for the 6-man wedding. What do you think of Tia May Aiden? Can't shake image of how close. I know. Bro, I was going to say the same thing. Tia, she's young. I think she's still a teenager. Marketable. The Brits love her. She, her training footage, she tapes well in the training room. She has a little bit of thing about her. Same. That fight sticks. She's still young though. Yeah, Buttigieg is another guy who struggled. Let me check. I agree with your hesitation with Tia. I think at this stage, how young she is, matchmaking should be favorable for what they think she should be and can be. So keep that in mind. So they build a card around Arobio. So Arobio, guys, the boxing gods. Mark this down. The boxing gods are blessing us with an end of the week Eye of the Tiger card. Yes. God. If you don't understand my celebration, you should ask around. We're gonna be eating so much. We got the third Aussie card in 4 weeks. We got, dude, this Eye of the Tiger card. They built a card around Arobio. I'm so stoked. They got Leonard Perez, Arobio, Moreno Fendero versus Fonjo, Sanford. These are just all of the same guys that we always watch. I don't mind it. In Montreal, I am not mad at this card at all. Definitely playing at least 3 knockout props. I'm surprised not to see our boy. Who's what do they call him? The Wasp? Is he scheduled for a fight? That kid is really good. What do they call him? The Sting? No, not him. Asinal. Dude. Do you guys ever watch Dimitri Asinal, dude? He usually fights on these Eye of the Tiger cards. This kid is a joy to watch. I'm surprised he's not on. I'm surprised he's not on that card. 13-0. Okay, he has a fight scheduled on another card. When's this one? Is that not Eye of the Tiger? Quebec. So this is October. Yeah, we got to put notifications on when these cards go down, boys. I guess on your notification. All right. Another Eye of the... All right, boys. Bankroll. Regarding your bankrolls, prepare September, the beginning of the month of September. We have an Eye of the Tiger card. Bankroll should be ready. Following month, beginning of October, we have another Eye of the Tiger card built around Osley Iglesias. Our boy Wilkins Matthew. Dude, Wilkins Matthew versus Shishkin on the Lolo. I mean, Shishkin is, not what he used to be, but Wilkins Matthew, dude, he's what, 2021? Luis Santana. Dude, look at this. They got Asinal as the B-side. Interesting. In a 10-rounder. I'm going heavy on Asinal there. Amon Kati. Dude, this card on the down low? Look who's on this card. You got Osley Iglesias, Wilkins Matthew versus Shishkin. You got Asinal fighting Santana, but Amon Khatib's fighting... Dude, Amon... if I could put my money on right now, Amon Khatib by knockout against P-Driver Corey, let's go. Thomas Chabot should be on my no bet list, but I'll probably bet him. Whatever happened to our boy Eric... the kid who fought Hami Munguia? He used to fight on these Eye of the Tiger cards too. Bazignan. But dude, this is where we make our money. If you're new to the game, if you're new to our channel, these Eye of the Tiger cards have been feeding families for a while. I got her at minus 110 only an hour ago. After you posted it, I was in my lunch break, quickly threw money on her when the odds come. Melissa doesn't seem like she's going to be. I don't think from when I taped Melissa, the 2 fights I saw, it is going to take. Melissa is not Ellie. Ellie, Ellie did not have her way with Auntie. You know what I mean? Ellie won more rounds, and she won. It was an easy fight to judge, but by no means, if you ask Ellie, was it an easy win. You know what I'm saying? And Ellie is up there in terms of skill, potential. I think this is a good spot for Flores. I've watched Austria. He gets in between Chancha Gas and late rounds. All right, so play it then, bro. I like Utria. Getting hit, there's 2 sides to this coin. Getting hit in between shots also tells me that he's punching with you. Also is telling me that he believes in his power. It's boxing. You're going to get hit. Can the 31-year-old Mercado stand up to it? Going to happen. We'll see. Greatest sport in the world. Greatest sport. I think the fight will be the fight of the night. How familiar with either Mercado? Well, I've followed Tito's entire career, and I know Israel is his uncle. Israel's 31 years old, not as active as I like him to be. He fought Birslanov. I watched the Arthur Birslanov fight. So I'd have to what I would be looking at, though, is output, game planning, gyms, training partners. I'm going to go on the social medias. I like Carlos a lot, by the way. My boots are already dug in. I think that's a nice win for him. GAR is not fighting. Guys, I told you guys this last week. There's only one GAR, and that's the guy who's the world champion at 140. Boxer, puncher, southpaw, who was just in a great fight against Andy Hiroka. The kid whose only loss was a fight against Alberto Puello in a fight which he was up. The kid who beat the dog shit out of Rayo. That's GAR. That's Gary Antoine Russell. His older brother, Gary Russell Jr., 38-year-old, 39-year-old former world champion. Fastest hands of his era. Some of the best hands in boxing of the last 25 years. That's not GAR. There's the middle brother who's 33. Gary Antonio. Technically, you could say it's GAR, but they call him Antonio. So Tony Russell's fighting. I got him winning. Tapology or BoxRec? Who's worse? I only use BoxRec. I use Tapology for MMA. Carlos Sutra is a good fighter. I think. Yeah, me too. Like I've taped both guys. I'm a big fan of trends. I like where fighters are trending. A guy like Mercado at 31 years old. You know what's taking him so long? The career didn't pan out. Whatever. You got a 23-year-old kid coming off winning the WBC Grand Prix tournament in Saudi. He earned my attention 100%. Some of those fights he was in. You know, we saw a kid who could go the distance twice, and we saw a kid who could win by stoppage twice. So I really like the dynamic of the offensive arsenal. Blue wasn't wrong. You know, Blue's like he doesn't like how he gets hit in between shots, but is Israel the guy to make him pay for that? Does Israel have that? Does he punch like that? I like a guy. If a guy's getting hit in between shots, you're also saying, well, my kid's a puncher. He's slugging. I'm here for it. You know, he's not, might not hit. Kind of watch a Robio fight. Guys, I'm going to lock it up. We're an hour, 18 minutes in. This will be my only live today, but we have a lot to cover all week, so I'll be doing 2 live streams every day starting tomorrow. Like the video on your way out. If you haven't subscribed, please do that for me. And join our Discord, all that good stuff. I'll see you in the next one. Best community in the world, man. JSB Insiders, we up.